expert views, and good luck with your future work. Dr. Rainier, for somebody that wants to reach you, you're located in Atlanta, R-A-I-N-I-E-R. Is that not correct?
Good enough for government work.
Okay.
R-A-I-N-E-R.
R-A-I-N-E-R. And Dr. Burstein, if they want to reach you to ask questions, they have to enroll at Emory University and become a resident.
I suppose so.
Well, thank you very much for watching tonight, and we welcome your letters about tonight's show. And we encourage you to write to Now and Tomorrow, GCTV, 2818 East Ponce de Leon Avenue, Decatur, Georgia, 30030. And we look forward to being with you 2 weeks from now when we bring you another interesting topic to make your life fuller, and now and tomorrow.
Back there.
Well, I thought I'd take the long way.
I'll do better in math.
This isn't about math.
It isn't?
Nope.
Just tell me what it is, okay?
But what is?
Whatever it is you're mad at.
Should I be mad?
I don't know. Are you?
I just want to know how you're doing, that's all.
You don't want to say anything?
No? How about you?
Not me. Are you gonna die?
Not for a long time.
Oh, I mean, good. I'd miss you.
You know, I'd miss you too.
Really?
Understanding grows, one conversation at a time. From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
All those who would like to, please rise with me and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Be seated. I'd like to welcome guests tonight. Appreciate guests that are here. Very much appreciate GCTV. This is our first opportunity to have the cable company come out and videotape our council meetings. And it'll be cable cast all evening. Other announcements. The Tommy Storms complaint to set aside the special election of June 28, 1994. Oral arguments were held this morning on May the 8th before the Georgia Supreme Court. And a ruling is pending at this time. Investigation of allegations by city employees against Councilmember Dunn. The investigative hearing of April 24, 1995 was adjourned to reconvene on May 16, 1995 at 7 p.m. That will be in this chamber. Mayor's committees, announcements of committee appointments. Before we do that, we have an additional announcement, but ladies and gentlemen, we really want to thank those people who have come out to volunteer to work on the various committees for the city, but we could use some more applications, and you can get your applications at City Hall. Councilmember Rose Parsons has been appointed to the Police and Community Communications Committee. We do have one other announcement, a note of sadness. Mr. Joe Ridling, a member of our community, a neighbor here in Pine Lake, passed away this past week. Mr. Ridling is a former police officer of the city of Pine Lake, and our sympathies go out to his family. Memorial service was held yesterday at Pine Lake Baptist Church. And what other announcement we have? We would like to recognize all veterans, but this is VE Day, ladies and gentlemen, victory in Europe, but especially those veterans who served our country in World War II. We appreciate very much. If you may have noticed at the clubhouse, the flag has been at half staff for the tragedy in Oklahoma City. It will remain as such today in honor of VE Day, and then tomorrow we'll raise it back to full staff. Does council have any other announcements? Okay, thank you. So this gives us an opportunity for public comment. Anyone would like to make any public comment at this time? Okay, we have other opportunities. Presentation of the minutes of the last meeting. We've made some typographical error corrections and tried to get through all those that we could find, and some that were mentioned by council at the work session. And I do notice one right off the bat that we'll take care of under public comment. Parsons instead of Parson. Does council have any further corrections, additions? Okay. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sorry we didn't get them all. Any other? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have some communication from the Judge Alan Mullinax, who is the city judge of our municipal court. May 1, 1995, the Honorable Michael Stuckey, Mayor, City of Pine Lake. Dear Mayor Stuckey, Kathy and I and members of my family were extremely touched by the expression of the Mayor and Council of the City of Pine Lake in their expression of sympathy by sending the beautiful flower arrangement to the funeral home. I was also touched, Mr. Mayor, because you took time from your busy schedule to attend my mother's funeral. Your act of kindness was certainly appreciated. Please express my appreciation to all of the employees of the City of Pine Lake for their expression of sympathy for the loss of my mother. With warm personal regards, Alan Mullinax. Reports of departments. Administration, Mr. Thomas. No, we finished. come up to the front here. Thank you.
Judy administration. As we previously reported, we've begun to address the issue of substandard housing in the city. The county inspectors have seen some of the properties, and owners have been advised of the problems they need to address. We'll be assessing our present progress in the next few weeks and choosing the next group of properties to work with. There are a few people who still haven't paid their plot and sanitation fees, and we're going to be making additional efforts to collect those, as well as some back taxes and fees from previous years. The annual audit was performed in the previously announced time frame. We're sorry, we would hope to have a report on that tonight, but Mr. Colbart has been delayed a little bit. He's promised us a report real soon. We're going to go back to the old low-interest loan issue again, as the council has heard me harping on for the last 7 months. We still do have, in fact, 7 requests in process, and I still encourage people to bring forth those individuals who might be helped by this, particularly our senior citizens. I'm also very glad to announce that I spoke with Mr. Bill Harry at DeKalb County today, and he indicated that some of our earliest applicants have cleared the initial screening and can expect to see an inspector soon. We've received the final approval and paperwork for our Cops Fast Police grant. Of course, everybody remember that's for our community policing officer. That's part of the crime bill. And we'll be submitting the rest of that information shortly. Chief Gammons and I will also meet later this week with a criminal justice degree candidate from Georgia State University. It's our intention to seek a mutually beneficial relationship with GSU by providing opportunities for their degree candidates to complete internships. In return, the interns will give us 150 hours of free service to our police department. As to finance, our beginning balance was $10,465.69. Total deposits for April, $37,583.11. Total checks written, $34,108.33. Police fund remains at approximately $1,800. The ending balance, $13,940.47, and our reserve certificates, as you can see, have in fact dropped to $63,419.31. Unfortunately, it became necessary to go ahead and liquidate that CD during the period of time that was previously discussed and permission granted by council due to the payroll taxes that had to be paid this month, as well as some liability insurance.
Mayor and council, the police report for April of 1995 is as follows. We had 41 incident reports, 7 miscellaneous incident reports, 2 accident reports, 174 traffic stops, 134 traffic citations, with 113 traffic warnings issued. We had 2 DUI arrests, 14 suspended license arrests, 7 miscellaneous traffic arrests. We had 4 local warrant arrests and 1 foreign warrant arrest, and 3 miscellaneous arrests. We had 38 calls for service. We had 23.5 reserve hours worked. We had 20 training hours, 0 teaching hours, and 2 hours of public speaking. We issued 9 ordinance warnings with 3 ordinance citations and 0 city cleanups. In addition, as I told council last month, SPO Stemp solved a hit-and-run case that occurred in the city. SPO Stemp arrested the suspect, and the suspect was wanted out of Michigan for armed robbery and 2 counts of felony weapons charges. SPO Childry was responsible for apprehending 2 carjackers wanted out of DeKalb County, and this arrest was made without any fatality or injury to anyone. In addition, SPO Stemp and myself gave a tour of the police department and gave a talk on policing to the Maranatha Academy School. A coloring contest was set up for the students, and the first and second prizes were donated by SPO Stemp and Chief Gammons. Yes. I'll have to get back with you. I don't have the files with me, but if you'll catch me after the meeting, I'll be happy to give you more information on that. Property damage, 6.
Is that property damage from what? From when?
Like I said, I don't have the
Okay.
files
All right,
with
I'll
me.
see.
To be able to rattle off all of these would be almost impossible, but I'll be happy to get with you and go over
Okay.
everything.
Right.
Most of the property damages is usually they know who did it. It's,
Oh, from other persons.
yes, it's,
Okay.
the property was damaged by
folks took advantage of the free hauling to get rid of their debris. So much so that, in fact, some of it has not been removed yet. But not to worry, if you place debris out to curb for free disposal during that period of time, it will be picked up at no charge. The Mormon missionaries who work in the city continue to give their community service time each week to the city, and once again, I extend my thanks to them. And please, folks, if you get a chance, be sure to thank them too. We expect to hear from the Georgia Department of Community Development in the next 2 weeks about our grant request for funds to renovate the clubhouse. As we reported last month, the project was fairly well received at the last application, and Senator Henson, Representative Henson, and Commissioner Davis have all written to the department to voice their support. We met our deadline also to apply for a grant from the Department of Natural Resources for funds to improve our recreation areas. Once again, Senator Henson has lent his support, and I'm very grateful for his continued help. And an important issue that's on the minds of many is the beach opening. It's my intention to make a decision about beach managers within the next week. Also at this time, we have one written proposal in hand for concessions. Ms. Michelle has submitted a proposal that the council has copies of. They're attached to my report. It is the intention of the Parks Department to grant the concessions to Ms. DePatron with details can be worked out.
Or is this just an announcement?
This is basically an announcement. If you have a question, feel free. We'll try to answer as best we can.
I do have a question. What are the hours? And it may be on here, and I may be 11:30 to dark.
Yes.
If you're not already, you may wish to familiarize yourself with the sign ordinance. I see that you're saying long plastic signs will be affixed on the building, and there are specifications that, if you haven't already, you may want to check on.
That's part of what we're talking about as far as Mr. Thomas's making sure that everybody's aware of all that, and certainly that that's complied with.
Also, I'd like to and you may want to talk to them to find out, because I'm quite sure that there's something that the beach house isn't up to code for you to be able to sell burgers in particular, unless they're the frozen kind that you just microwave. I mean, I think that if it's not prepackaged, there's some hoops that you may need to go through. The only thing, the only thing that concerned me about the proposal, which by the way I think looks great, the only thing that concerned me was the part that said 11:30 a.m. to dark, depending on business and weather. I can appreciate that in inclement weather, thundering and lightning, people are not going to be at the beach, or we hope not. But my concern is depending on business. In years past, we had somebody who rented the beach house, and the problem was is that it was very hard to know when they were going to be open or when they weren't going to be open. So I'd like to caution that maybe we can have some set cutoff time to work off.
Referring to specifically, when the beach has to be closed for health reasons and things like that. Normally, there's no one down there, and so it would be appropriate, but certainly advise council of all those. Those type things would be covered completely in any contract.
I noticed that last year, one of the things that went really well was that we all knew that the beach house would definitely be open from this time to this time, no matter what. And I think that was a real help. In the year before that, people didn't know when they would come down, and they would get angry that it was closed, and I just would like to see that situation not repeat itself.
Where it says rent, Then it says, in the event of financial liability, I reserve the right to cancel this agreement within 60 days written notice. That means we might have a possibility that we'd be into the summertime and have to look for a new tenant.
That's a fairly standard thing, and then this is just a proposal. It's nothing that the Parks Department has agreed upon, you know, right down the line, obviously. But those type things are fairly standard in agreements of this type, and I'm not saying that they have to be in there. But if you would note 60 days, one would think that towards the end of May, when this is to open, the 27th specifically, you know, you would have to figure at least a couple of weeks or a month. That would be, say, a month. That'd be towards the end of June. 60 days notice would be through July and August, and we would have the month of September that we would have to contend with, of course. That's just an example. So 60 days is fairly standard. If council member is suggesting we make it 90 or something like that as a stipulation, certainly, you know, feel free to do so.
I really think that this needs to be discussed in a little more detail.
Well, I had a question also along the rent, while we're talking about that. It says with automatic renewal on a yearly basis. I don't know that we would want to blindly agree to that.
You can't lock yourself in.
I can't see that we would want to lock ourselves in with automatic renewal on a yearly basis. For how long? I think that's something that we might need to clarify.
Okay.
There was over one side because it looks like, reading this on the rent part, that you want us to be locked in, but you don't want to be locked in. So that's the trouble we're having.
That's not necessarily the case. You know, 60 days notice can be given to the landlord and the tenant, the right of either one. Also, the city, because it is a municipality, has the right to terminate agreements a little more liberally than other landlord situations may. You know, if in the city felt it was in the best interest to do so. And as far as the automatic renewal is automatic if both parties agree. We don't have to go through a big long rigmarole. It is generally what those type things are. It's been the experience of the chair that that's generally what that means. Again, this is not an actual contract. This is just an outline, a proposal, and that's why I was brought to the council to make, you know, to recognize those things and answer those questions. Certainly want the input of the council.
I have two questions.
Yes, sir.
Is the proposee a resident of Pine Lake?
No.
Did we advertise in the newspaper on the two?
Are you not a resident of
sorry,
Pine Lake?
I apologize.
It has a Pine Lake address.
I was thinking of another person who did. I apologize. Who had not submitted a formal proposal, but who had talked to us informally.
Did we advertise? Like we discussed 2 weeks ago, we were going to advertise in the paper on the vending machines and concession.
So far, no, sir. The advertisement did not go out due to the expense that was involved and due to the cash flow situation we found ourselves in.
For the record, I'd just like to state that I'd like for us to do whatever we can to not have vending machines at the beach house.
The building on this proposal, the interior will be arranged with smaller tables seating 4 to 6 people. Is that, the tables, is that something that we will need to provide you? Okay. If I could just make a general comment to Michelle Duprat, is that? I'm sorry, I have it written here too, and I think that we do appreciate your proposal, and it may appear that we are firing questions at you, but I hope that it doesn't feel that way. We do appreciate it. It is a proposal. I think there are some current concerns about time, and I would imagine that you also have those concerns. That probably is the most pressing. And then when we understand that a decision will be made this week, and this is our only meeting so far this week. So I hope that you are feeling comfortable with what's happening.
Okay. We have an opportunity for public comment again. Do we have any public comment at this time? We're asking people to come forward, sir. And we're asking people to state their name and what street they live on.
Bruce Bartell, Maximum Drive. In the hiring of a number of positions and looking at situations that involve people coming in to do things in our city, there seems to be an automatic that we run an ad. We were required to run an ad for the hiring of a Parks Department employee. Corporations generally look to hire from within because you're dealing with a known commodity, someone who is familiar with the city or someone who is familiar in the corporate sense with the way the corporation runs. And most times corporations will go and seek people to take over positions from inside the community because it's better for the corporation. We have standards set for mayor and all council members that require that you live in the city. You are all paid, although not as much as maybe other people that are hired. Harvey Ford was a man that I felt that when you have an individual with the qualifications that he has, and he's from within the city and wants to work in the city, quite frankly, I think that people from within the city should get some sort of preference. If they present to you viable abilities, if they can come up with presentations to you that are comfortable, I think that you need to be automatically looking to fill whatever position from within the city and not from without. I think it's in the best interest of the city. I think that you should hold the standards to any position that is hired from within the city to the same standards that we hold you, that you are residents here. I'm not saying that has to be an absolute, but when somebody comes in here and is willing to do something, quite frankly, I feel that they're putting more on the table to you than somebody who comes in from outside. I think that you'll find that they're going to put more effort into whatever job they have because they live here. And they take pride in the fact that they live here. And I would just like to see the tone softened a little bit in that respect. I appreciate your time.
Do we have any? Oh.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Just on the same subject, Tommy Storms, I agree with Mr. Bartow. I think that the first thing that we need to look at is the proposals that we have on the table, and I think that we should look at whether or not those proposals are residents from Pine Lake, because obviously we want community involvement, ownership, empowerment of the community, but I also think that it would be, I'm not sure the exact way to state this, ignorance comes to mind, but that's not the word I'm looking for. But I think that an ad is certainly a good idea. I think that to turn a blind eye to the fact that there are other members of communities elsewhere who can bring things to our community to enhance it would be wrong for us to not look to that. But again, I think what I'm saying is I agree with Mr. Bartow that maybe we should first look to the proposals at hand, secondly to whether or not it's a Pine Lake resident, and third, the proposals again overall, and whether or not someone can bring something to the table that despite the fact that there may be a resident who's offering these services might enhance the community. It may in fact give some of the other residents or some who have proposals new ideas, and I think that we should cultivate all the communities around us and all the ideas that are available. And I think that running an ad is a good idea to see what we have. And again, to look to Pine Lake is one of those first things, because we obviously want to support the community, and that's our first agenda. Thank you.
Have any further public comment at this time?
I just have one quick thing.
Yes.
I was disappointed that we didn't receive a proposal from the Mitchell family, because I think that it was very well done last year, and I think that it was something that seemed to work well.
Ray Mitchell, Oak Road. I gave a proposal. I was denied because I wouldn't lay my financial records on the table to your district, your director there. And I would still take the lake and open it like it was ran last year, with the conditions that the bathrooms are handicapped and the roof is fixed. And the roof leaks, y'all was told about last year. There's no effort been done to fix it this year, and there's been nothing done to the bathrooms.
As far as informational from the chair, we would disagree that no effort has been made. There has been grant application to totally remodel the beach house, including bringing up to ADA specs, as well as other things that need to be done. So yes, we have been working towards that. Yes, ma'am.
I think he also did a great job last year. I heard a lot of good comments, not only from parents, but also from kids. They had a good time. They felt safe, and Mr. Mitchell did do a good job. He went beyond, I think, what we could ask of any tenant of the beach house. Asking, if it is true, as Mr. Mitchell says, asking for the financial records of someone who is proposing to do that. I think that we want to ensure that someone can pay rent or meet their obligations to the city, but beyond that, I don't think that we have an ordinance or that there's any particular law that states that he has to disclose things of a personal nature, unless, again, it is to establish that he can pay. And, I just wanted to go on record and state that, and also give some support to Mr. Mitchell. And I'm sure everyone on council agrees he did a great job last year.
As a point of information that relates to, I believe a verbal proposal was given, but anyway, it relates to a business license ordinance. There is law, and that's what we're doing. Well, sir, the law was changed as of January, and but the things are a little bit different from where they were last year. And if you'd like to talk to Mr. Thomas about it, please feel free to come down to the City Hall and do so. Okay, sir. We have, again, public comment. Is there any further at this time? Okay, unfinished business. We have second reading of ordinance. We have 3 of these. Councilmember Parsons is originally proposed this ordinance, and she has requested again to do the second reading as she did the first.
Second reading of an ordinance to amend the code of the City of Pine Lake, Georgia, Title 9, Article C, Chapter 1, by amending Sections 35, 37, and 39. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Pine Lake, and it is hereby ordained by the authority of same, that Title IX, Article C, Chapter 1, be amended in the following respects. Sections 35, 37, and 39, by amending Section 9-1-35, 9-1-37, and 9-1-39, by deleting the number 30 and inserting in lieu thereof the number 10. All ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Adopted this 12th day of June, 1995, by the Mayor and Council of the City of Pine Lake, Georgia.
Thank you. We have second reading of two more ordinances. The first, an ordinance to amend the code of the City of Pine Lake, Georgia, Title 6, Chapter 1, by amending Section 3. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Pine Lake, and it is hereby ordained by the authority of same, that Title 6, Chapter 1 be amended in the following respects. Section 3, by amending Section 6-1-3, minimum floor area, by deleting the number 1,000 and inserting in lieu thereof the number 1,200 or 1,200. All ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Adopted this 12th day of June, 1995, by the Mayor and Council of the City of Pine Lake, Georgia. Second reading of an ordinance to amend the code of the City of Pine Lake, Georgia, Title 6, Chapter 1, by amending Section 2. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Pine Lake, and it is hereby ordained by the authority of same, that Title 6, Chapter 1 be amended in the following respects. Section 2, by amending Section 6-1-2, minimum lot dimensions, by deleting the number 80 and inserting in lieu thereof the number 60. All ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Adopted this 12th day of June, 1995, by the Mayor and Council of the City of Pine Lake, Georgia. Okay, we have opportunity for public comment once again. Yes, sir.
Tom Mahoney at Spruce Drive. Mayor, I'd like to address something here. The investigation of allegations by city employees against Councilmember Dunn. I've been to a lot of these meetings and I've never really heard exactly what they are. You might not be able to answer it because our attorney's not here. Is that something you can comment on and tell us what the allegations are?
They were read at a council meeting, I believe, but they have been published in the newspaper as well. I'm sorry, I don't have that right in front of me, because Mr. Thomas has it. Any further public comment? Okay. We'll go into new business. We have the first reading of voting ordinance. Councilmember Dunn asked if we put this together, and we went ahead and put this together. Councilmember Dunn, would you care to read this ordinance, or would you rather the chair do it?
An ordinance to amend the code of the City of Pine Lake, Georgia, Title 4, Chapter 3, by amending Section 1. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Pine Lake, and hereby ordained by the authority of same, that Title 4, Chapter 3 be amended in the following respect. Section 1, by amending Section 4-3-1A and Section 4-3-1B, by deleting the words "and voting." All ordinance and part of ordinance in conflict herewith and hereby repealed. Adopted this 10th day of July, 1995, by Mayor and Council of the City of Pine Lake, Georgia.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we have reading a resolution to adopt the 1995 millage rate. A resolution to adopt a millage rate for fiscal year 1995, City of Pine Lake, Georgia. Whereas Chapter 5, Article B, Section 2-5-11 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Lake requires the mayor and council to establish an ad valorem millage rate for each fiscal year, and whereas the City of Pine Lake uses the tax digest of DeKalb County to assess taxable property in the city as provided by law, and whereas the budget of the City of Pine Lake has determined that an amount of $85,000 is required in non-vehicle ad valorem taxes for the 1995 fiscal year, and that from the best figures available to determine taxable property, now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of Pine Lake that the rate of 13 mills per $1,000 of taxable property be established as a millage rate for fiscal year 1995 for the City of Pine Lake, adopted this 12th day of June, 1995. Does any council member have any other announcements? Thing we'd like? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We are stand adjourned.